We have discussed the controversy and how much I hated how it ended, but there was a lot between the start and finish of SummerSlam Night 2, and a lot of good that was in there. So let's break it all down with another wrestling recap. So, the WWE with a second night of SummerSlam. Looking like things are maybe a little laggy again. So, sorry if there's a bit of a offness about the audio and video that we are rocking with at this particular moment. So, let's dive in now with our SummerSlam recap here for night 2. We begin with the Women's Championship, as it is Naomi against Io Sky against Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. I thought this was great. I thought Naomi getting played out by her dad was an amazing touch. I think they did a great job with that. And then the match again, it was fun. Io and Rhea really do have an amazing chemistry together. And so I am excited to see where they kind of go now outside of the championship picture. And Naomi deserves this win. This is an excellent character. And I think she has really, like we talk about Tiffany Stratton kind of needing to figure out what her voice is, figure out what this character is. Look at Naomi as a prime example. Naomi is living this character on television and really has this thing down to knowing how she would react in every moment and portraying it perfectly. So I'm happy for her that she gets the win here, and said it on the Q&A we did yesterday. This feels like the most interesting division in WWE right now, with the like Io, Rhea, you're adding Stephanie Vicaire to the mix, and having Naomi. Like the top of this championship kind of division is really, really strong on the Monday Night Raw side. The TLC match for the tag team championships. I like that they gave Jeff Hardy the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys a bit of rub going before with a nice little touch. I thought that was really cool. As the match gets going, I had just explained to my wife, like, because she went to the show with me in Calgary, and the Wyatt 6 were featured rather prominently, especially at the beginning of that. And so I was like, well, they haven't really been around a whole lot, and then they came back, and then they had a couple matches where a lot went wrong, and they still won the titles because that was the plan. But it's been a little sloppy since they've come back. And then the first move of the match, basically, is a back body drop, and Joe Gacy's supposed to go on the ladder, and he missed every bit of it. And so they run back outside, bring him back in, and back body drop him on there again. But aside from that, this match was just brilliant. You have Rey Fenix going up and almost getting the belts when he jumps up on Andrade's shoulders. But that obviously gets broken up. And then you get the series of table spots with Gargano hitting a springboard DDT onto Gacy through the table, and then Dexter Lumis with what was supposed to be a leg drop that turns into basically a senton going through, I think it was Montez Ford. You have Rey Fenix with the frog splash going through Nathan Frazier, and then Axiom with the Spanish Fly on Dawkins. I thought that, like, the whole sequence was awesome. Everyone is down. Candice LeRae comes running out. She's going to go for the belts. She gets cut off by B-Fab. B-Fab gets cut off by Nikki Cross, and you just kind of think, it's done. Like, we had the women involvement, and it was like, oh, wow. Okay, we move on. But then Candice LeRae starts climbing again, and the ladder is just a bit too far out of reach, and she's going for it, and she's going for it. Johnny Gargano is holding the ladder, but Ciampa gets pushed into Gargano, who's pushed into the ladder, which sends Candice LeRae all the way to the outside and through a ladder that is set up on the floor. I had to pause it because I was just making sounds. Jaw dropped, unbelievable moment. Just no part of it did I see coming. And they did an awesome job with that one. Hopefully she's all right. And then the reaction after, like, everyone reacted amazingly with, like, Cole and Wade Barrett are like, oh my God. Montez Ford has the biggest, like, oh shit moment. And Johnny Gargano's like, yeah, you're good. And goes after the belts. Like, just everyone played the role that they were supposed to perfectly. Excellent work all around. You get a bit more of the Wyatts kind of cutting everyone off. Frazier goes for the spear moment where Ciampa is kind of hanging on the belts and the ladder gets pulled away. Frazier goes for the spear. Ciampa pulls himself up and Frazier misses. I thought a really unique counter to a spot that everyone was kind of anticipating. Because you could see, like, the entire audience like, oh my God. And then Ciampa with the core strength to pull himself up. I thought that was I thought that was really great, what they were able to do there. You get a few more big moves, and then eventually Uncle Howdy comes in and helps out, and it is the Wyatt 6 retaining. This match was awesome. All the performers in this, aside from the Wyatts, I think come out looking a lot stronger than they did going into this one. The Wyatt stuff, it's going to need to really ramp up, because right now they're just heels. There's nothing different about them or anything like that. They are just heels who haven't really been around a whole lot to get us invested, and haven't really even told us why they're heels. They justified it on the broadcast just by saying, yeah, remember when they sent us creepy VHS tapes for a bit, and then we liked them for a while, and now we don't. But forget the like them for a while part. That whole Chad Gable thing, don't even worry about it. It's not clicking for me, and I don't think turning them into House of Torture is the way to go about it either. So, meh on the team that won, but everyone else comes out of this smelling like roses. Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, a tough act to follow for them, to have a weapons match after just a dynamite weapons match. And so again, this one a little bit more on the story, at least early on. But first, Becky comes out to a new theme. I like it a lot. I don't know if the theme necessarily meshes with the character, but I do also think that it was time for her to have a different theme than the one she had when she was the last kicker, all those moons ago. Some really fun spots, I thought. Throwing Lyra into the barricade. She jumps up, springboards off of it, and lands on Becky that way. The stuff with the zip ties, and the kind of assault with the kendo stick. Becky lodges the chair onto Lyra. I thought they were doing a really good job of putting this match together. The Bayley interference ties in with a bigger story down the road, so that was that. I really thought that this was a moment to put Lyra Valkyria over and give her kind of that big boost. And I'm almost becoming a little protective of her as a character, because there's a little bit that's lacking with crowd reactions right now. And in ring, you can see it. Like, this match was awesome, but character-wise, it's getting there, and we're getting close. I feel like they went the exact wrong way on the Go Home show for this. And so I'm interested to see what they do now with this character. You had a bit of a backstage thing, and that was it. I feel like, again, this is a world champion at some day, but they need to get more investment in her, and right now that isn't there. So interesting dynamic to see where they go now with the title not being within her grasp. Certainly looks like they're obviously setting something up with Bayley, who came in with the interference pin finish, accidentally hitting her. Jacob Fatu against Solo Sikoa. I thought the video to set this up was very well done. As for the match itself, I thought that it had another gear that it could have got to. And it just never, before all the interference and stuff started to happen. And then again, I thought this was a big moment to get Jacob Fatu back over and maybe kind of separate from the bloodline stuff a little bit more. That obviously is not the case, as Solo Sikoa wins. And so there have been a lot of criticisms of Triple H booking over the last 48 hours or so. One thing, when it comes to specifically bloodline storylines, but a few of these in general, it does feel like the exit strategy on kind of the big long-term build-up things isn't really there, and it's just, well, it's long-term. It's like, there's a difference between long-term and it just being long. And I think we're at a this is just being long portion now. Could be wrong, but it felt like this was the time to just, let's get Jacob the win and let's move on from this thing, instead of still being locked in this vortex for as long as we have been. One other note, Tongaloa and JC Mateo get locked in the cage after, and Jacob Fatu just whoops that ass. And I hated that part, specifically for JC Mateo to come over after just, like, he has had amazing performances in AEW and in New Japan. And, like, there is a very talented wrestler in there. And now he is just a part of the job squad, basically. To think so little of him that Jimmy would beat him up a little bit and then throw him into the ring and lock him in there with a teammate of his and just be like, oh yeah, Jacob Fatu's got this, does not speak highly of where JC Mateo is right now. So that is one that has been absolutely screwed up by WWE to this point. Dominik Mysterio against AJ Styles. First, we get Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown shown in the crowd. This one was fun. A lot of Eddie tributes. 20 years ago, it was the infamous ladder match for custody of Dominik Mysterio. And so you have a lot of Eddie throwbacks here. And a good match. Like, Dominik, we said a while ago when they put the Intercontinental title on him, like, for a while, he was just kind of Ray's kid and a pretty good gimmick. But the wrestling is really starting to come. And obviously the character is very well refined, very well figured out. This is really clicking now. And you see the reaction he got in Mexico. I think is going to be very fascinating to see how all of that plays out at Triple Mania in a couple of weeks. And like, given that reaction, man, you could convince me that he's the AAA Grand Champion or Mega Champion, sorry, in a couple of weeks, because that was a huge reaction. And this guy's starting to figure some things out. I know there will be some that would protest the Intercontinental Champion in WWE being the world champion of one of Mexico's biggest promotions, but there's a lot going on with this kid right now. And so I thought the match with AJ was really, really good. Then we get to the main event. It's Cody Rhodes against John Cena for the WWE Championship. This match, like, it was both guys hitting finishers and kicking out of finishers. The match was just indescribably better than the WrestleMania one. There's no question about that. And the no-holds-barred stipulation really did work. And I criticized the Cena babyface turn the other day. And again, Ryan in the chat saying that Triple H and creative messed up the Cena face turn. I would agree. I think to have it happen with one, hey, I'm good now promo on SmackDown sucked. And I hated every bit of that. And maybe there was a bit of a recognition that this crowd's not going to go with you guys there. But you could have done it, like you said, after the SummerSlam loss. You could have kind of your Hogan Rock moment there at WrestleMania where the crowd has turned both guys. And so coming out of it, Cena's like, I thought you guys abandoned me. I all these different things, but that support on Sunday really changed me. And so I'm back with you guys. And Cody's like, hey, all of you, eat shit. I think there was a way you could do that there. Instead of kind of the subtle turn, but not really turn, but definitely a turn on Friday leading into this match. So didn't love all the way around it, but the match was good. Like, it's a lot of big moments and a lot of big moves and a lot of big kickouts, and the crowd was there for every second of it. And eventually Cody gets the win. It's the right move to get Cody that victory, get it back on the face of the company. A really good passing of the torch moment at the end where you can see Cena obviously mouth, I gave you everything I had. I thought that was a cool moment with those two guys. Cody obviously emotional in the ring after, so we'll see what kind of comes of this afterward and the follow-up with Cody, but I thought this was great. And then the end happens with Brock Lesnar coming out and attacking John Cena. Again, I hate that Brock Lesnar is back with everything that is alleged in the suit against Vince McMahon and all of those things. I hate that part of it. And also, I just am not entertained by Brock Lesnar wrestling matches anymore. I'm just not. Wasn't then, certainly not going to be now. So I don't think that this was something that needed to happen from a wrestling standpoint or from just an actual human being standpoint. Kind of hated all of it.